Welcome in. It is day 282, and you're speaking with the Meeples Champion. And today, we're a little bit set up already, as you can see. I've been here for about 2.5 hours playing one of my newest games that I picked up at PAX East, trying to see what the game really is. It's been a blast so far, but why don't we get a little bit into it? The game is called Too Many Bones. Now, I had heard about this game for many years. I've got a much smaller box that I'm sure those of you who have played or looked into this are used to. It's the condensed version. Supposedly, they say that there's a, reduction as far as like quality of components. Those who I've spoken to and that which I've seen online looks like it's exactly the same quality. The only major difference is that the regular box came with all this extra space that allowed for the expansions. This game was extremely tightly packed. Some people said there might have been a little bit of difference in a couple of the actual packaging of what things were going into, but to me it still looks pretty good. Now the concept of the game is you're either going to play co-op or you're going to play solo style. You're going to play with your gear lock, and you're going up against a baddie. And essentially they're going to set up a campaign for you. You're going to get your big baddie, they're going to pick out cards from different types of scenarios you can be in, and you're going to be going into each round trying to see if you can defeat bad guys, if you can advance your character, can you survive? Now the way this works is you're going to take the number of gear locks competing, and you're going to take the round number, you're going to multiply them, and that'll decide what your bad guy number is. So in a solo game, obviously this should be made a little bit easier for you, as you shouldn't have to be competing against way too many baddies or else you're not going to be able to win. So in my case, I've played through the first 5 rounds so far, and in those rounds, obviously, each round was 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally 5 points to be spent. Now, the rule is you have your baddies set up as 1 point, 5 point, and 20 point payouts. So once you figure out what your number is, you have to start putting bad guys on the board, starting with the biggest number you can buy. So in my case, the first 4 rounds were all 1-pointers. And you can only have a max of 4 people on the board at once, so in that 4th round, it was the first time I maxed out the board. However, when the 5th round hit, my bad guy was up to a 5 now, taken off the top of the 5-point baddies. So you take them out, you figure what their health is. Based on the order of those you've taken out, you will then place them in 1, 2, 3, or 4 for the columns, and you'll place them either in the back or the front row of their side based on if they are melee or if they're ranged. Now, if they're ranged, they don't have to move. They're able to shoot you from wherever they are. If they're melee, they have to get next to you, but they have 2 movement to get towards you. You'll have them come out with a number already predetermined on their die, and you're going to roll your own die to see what your number comes to, and that'll decide the initiative, who gets to go first. And then it's all up to how you spend. You have your attack, you have your defense, you have your dexterity, which is what allows you to roll dice in the first place, and you have your health. Those are your big 4. Each of your gear locks will come with a set number, but then you're going to be able to get other dice on there that can go all the way up to potentially a plus of 6. Now, it's obvious with something like, say, health. You start with your number, you're going to say, oh, I want to spend, say, a point that you've earned to increase your health. You put out a 1. That's fine. The same thing with dexterity, you can always just bump it up by 1. However, when it comes to your attack and your defense, those are a little tougher. What will happen is, when somebody says, I want to increase my attack dice, they're going to look at their current setup and see how many attack dice they currently have. They're going to pick that many up and roll them, and unless something else is specified, if they roll any bones, they're done. They do not get the attack die, and now they must increase a different die instead. If they don't roll any bones, they can bump it up. But now that means the next time they try to increase their attack die, that's an extra die you're rolling. If you try to go for your defense die, it's the same setup. The only difference is you roll them all, and then you pick up any bones you may have rolled, and you can re-roll them once. So you have a second try to see if you can try to get this down to no bones. Once you've completed this, you've gotten your upgrades there. You also have dice on your board. These are skill dice, so you can be working to try to earn a die or advance a die to a higher number. You can be rolling things during battles that are going to be costing you your dice, but putting them into the bone row, which means they can get cashed out to help pay out for something else. It's a real interesting game. I'm only 5 rounds in. I'm probably maybe about halfway into my current solo fight. It looks like this one's going to probably take me close to 5 hours, but I thought I should stop here while I had a little momentum, wasn't burnt out yet on my first day of playing, and give my review. So why don't we jump in, let's talk our 7 categories, and see where this game lands for us. When it comes to the art, I mean, that's one of the best things about this game. The box is really, really nice. I know it's not the bright colors you're used to, but I like a box like this. It's got the setting, the feel, the uniqueness, and it grabs the eye. And I think everything about this board and this game does the same. You've got all these pieces and cards and chips and everything with really nice art, setting up such a unique look of when you set everything up on your board. For me, huge thumbs up. Your components. Now, I can't speak to the other game. I can't speak to the original game that came out that they claim is supposed to be better. But for me, this is top tier 5 out of 5 components. Your dice are really nice and they feel individualized. Your player mats are actually like a mat and not a cardboard piece of paper or a flimsy piece of paper. Your chips are, I mean, I don't know if those of you who may have played this before have played poker, but for me, these are top level poker style chips. Really done nice with a nice gloss. This is really well done all across the board. Thumbs up. Your price. It's not cheap. I paid $120 for this game. This was an expensive game. I really seem to like what I'm looking at so far. I'm excited to keep playing, advancing, learning. I'm excited to eventually see if my wife wants to play with me and see if we like a co-op version, if I can figure this out well enough to feel like I can teach her. That being said, even if this game is optimal for me, $120 is too much money for a game. You shouldn't buy many at that price, and I usually hold out to get a game like that I can play multiplayer that's not co-op required. This game looks like it's got some unique fashion to it, and I'm excited about it, and I'm having fun so far, but I recognize that no matter how much fun I have, that's way past my number that I'm usually okay with. It's got to be a thumbs down. Your difficulty. So, this is not for kids. This is not for beginners. I don't care if the beginner coming in is excited about a co-op or a solo. I think this is too much for that. You gotta knock them out. I think this is perfect for expert level. Experts are gonna jump into this. When I say expert, I mean expert playing solo, expert playing co-op. Experts who like to play regular style games may not translate to this. It may not be for them. I normally don't touch co-ops or solos. I'm not an expert in that area. So I got this because I wanted to try this particular one if I was going to play one of those areas. But most people don't want to do that. So experts have to be specified to those two things. Experience, though, I'm an experienced player. And I was willing to try it, and I think that's why I had my eye drawn to this. As an experienced player, I was willing to give this one a shot and see if it was maybe the game that I was going to enjoy as a solo play. And so far I am. So for me, if you have your experts and if you have your experience, that's enough. It's got to be a thumbs up. Replayability. So the concept of this game can hit in a few ways. It's not short. It looks like a short game could be anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. Again, I'm learning the game on a solo style, and I'm already 2.5 in. I'm only about halfway. But I think once I know what I'm doing and I've taught myself the game, this is probably realistically a 2.5 hour type play. Not one that you play multiple times in a day, not one that you're going to play multiple times in a month. However, it is a solo style game, and if you are one of those people who has a game night once a week or family or friends that like to play but they don't play too often, it's a nice game in the collection to be able to pull out on your own when you're available on a Friday night or a Saturday or a Sunday, and you know your family wants to do something, you didn't want to be included, your friends wanted to do something you were really interested in joining, you really wanted to game but nobody was around for that, and you decide, do you know what, I'm gonna get myself a movie today, get myself some food, I'm gonna play a few hours of my game, and then I'm gonna relax and have a me day. And I think for that reason there is replayability, because this is a game that's probably gonna hit my table quite a bit this year. Maybe it'll be, for the first month, like once a week, And then after that, might be only once a month, once every 2 months. But it's a game I'm going to try to master and then enjoy. And that's going to be enjoyed by myself. It'll probably take a year before I would try to teach my wife. I may try to play with my friends before then and see if they like it and see if I can get into the co-op style. But I'm not going to bring my wife into this until I feel I know what I'm doing enough so that I can help guide her easily. But in general, replayability, thumbs up. Keys to victory. So the keys to me is how you're allocating all of what you're going after. When you flip over a card for the round, you're usually given options for what to do. And those options come with higher or lower risk and higher and lower payouts. Are you getting skill points? Are you getting loot cards? Are you getting the high pay loot cards that you need locks and keys and all these other things to try to get into, but they have a huge payout for you? There's a lot to it, and it's all up to how you choose your direction. Depending on your character, your villain, the randomness of who comes out, the order of the random cards you grabbed, there's all sorts of routes to victory, and the keys are up to how you allocate your decisions. When you're given a 50-50 shot, what risk are you taking? What reward are you after? And when you get those rewards, how are you spending them? Are you using a reward to try to build yourself up, or are you after money and loot and trying to get stuff to the side? So to me, plenty there. Thumbs up. Unique. Is the game unique? In my collection, 100% unique. However, I understand that I don't get many co-ops and I don't get many solo plays. So what about other people's collections? Where does this game rank? When I look at the games I've played in the past, I don't know of another solo play so far that compares to what I'm doing here. Only game I could really think of that kind of looks like this at all is Dice Forge. But Dice Forge is about manipulating the dice. It's not about earning different style dice. So to me, I can't think of a game that has a solo play that has such a manipulating, quick shifting for who you're facing and the order of what you fight for the track of your story that's so easy to put out there, that has so many dice, but you're not trying to build the dice, you're trying to earn dice, and that has dice of not only you, but your enemies and your attacks, your defenses, all your skills. I think it's extremely unique. Thumbs up. Overall, what do I think? It's expensive. It's very expensive. So if you were to come across this game in a used game store and you found it for, say, like 80, I'd consider it. But if you found it for 60 or less, I would be really leaning into saying, as long as you don't hate solo and co-op games, just grab it. Because at that price, you're getting a great price. That being said, this is a game that I feel like if you have a shot to play it, sure, give it a shot. But if you know you don't like solos or co-ops, don't jump at it. Or if you know you normally don't, but you're kind of interested, see if there's people that know what they're doing to help you. Playing on your own may not be the best way to start this game. I'm taking the opportunity to do it because I had, as part of my huge buying for PAX East, to learn new games to try to introduce to you guys. So I was very excited to try to learn this game, but normally this style game is not something I want to sit and play for hours. So this is an outside the norm situation, but for a game I think that if you're going to do it for, this was the game to do it for. That being said, I would really lean in the direction of don't go out and buy this game unless you're sure. It's just so expensive. And I do think that it's an amazing game, and I do think that for the quality of what you're getting inside that box, it's worth its price. But being worth its price and you paying that price are two different things, so just don't rush into it. Because $120 isn't something cheap. You can go and buy yourself 2 really good games with that. You can go buy yourself 3 nice games with that. Don't waste an opportunity at stuff you may love for a risk. Know what you're buying first. Well, it has been day 282, and we've been speaking about the game Too Many Bones. And you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description where I'll be adding an Amazon link in case you want to get this game for your collection. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.